Howdy folks, Justin here again with Texas Recland Real Estate, and today we're going to discuss FEMA designated flood zones and why it's important for you to know what zone your property or a property you're purchasing is in. So what are FEMA designated flood zones? Well, they're a way for FEMA to categorize the risk of flooding for a particular area. And they're used to determine insurance premiums and minimum finished floor levels for newly constructed buildings. Now, FEMA has several different flood zones, including various coastal flood zones that I'm not too familiar with because I live in central Texas away from the coast. So we're going to focus today on the flood zones that are common here in my area. Those would be zones A and AE, which are in the 100-year flood zone, and zone X shaded, which is an area between the 100 and the 500-year flood, and zone X unshaded, which is an area above the 500-year flood zone. If you live in a flood zone, A or AE, it's very important that you find out what your base flood elevation is. And that's a number that defines the elevation of a potential flood according to FEMA. Now, if you're in zone AE, you'll be able to determine your base flood elevation based on lines that are shown on the FEMA map. If your property is located in zone A, you're not going to be able to find a base flood elevation on the FEMA map. You'll either have to hire a land surveyor to come out and establish a base flood elevation using what's called the simplified method, or you'll have to hire an engineer to come out and perform a flood study and establish a base flood elevation. Base flood elevations are very important because they help tell you how high a prospective building or home needs to be placed. So if you're thinking of purchasing a property and the base flood elevation is 7, 8, 9 feet up in the air in a particular building area, that's going to tell you that you're going to have to put your new home or building at least that high, and many municipalities require a foot or two above the base flood elevation for the minimum finished floor. So that could sway you one way or another when you're thinking of making a purchase on a particular piece of property. An elevation certificate is required by insurance companies when they're in the process of determining a premium for a flood insurance policy. And a base flood elevation is a large component of an elevation certificate. For every foot above the base flood elevation, the finished floor of an existing home is, generally the insurance premiums are less. Cities and counties also require base flood elevations when they're issuing permits for new structures. Generally, they're going to require the proposed minimum finished floor to be 1 or 2 foot above that base flood elevation. Also important to note is that cities and counties can have their own base flood elevations that are more restrictive than FEMA's. So it's very important you contact the city or county where your property is or your prospective property is so you can find out if they have more restrictive base flood elevations. Hopefully this video has been helpful. As always, my name is Justin with Texas Recland Real Estate. If you're looking to buy or sell land in the Central Texas area, give me a call, 512-704-3628. I look forward to hearing from you.